Hi, it's mystery author Ellie Alexander, and I am so excited to be with you for another 5 Things Friday. This week, in anticipation of A Cup of Holiday Fear, the 10th, that's right, the 10th book in the Bakeshop Mysteries, I am going to be sharing 5 more things that you might not know about the series. So stick around and we'll chat all things Bakeshop. It is hard to believe, but the 10th book in the Bakeshop Mysteries, A Cup of Holiday Fear, is going to be out everywhere on bookshelves near you in just a few weeks. So I thought it would be fun to do an edition of 5 things that revolve around things you may or may not already know about the series. I did one of these before, so this is 5 more things you might not know about the Bakeshop Mysteries. Let's get right to it. Number 1, today I am outside at Eliana Winery in Ashland, Oregon. For those of you who have followed along in the series, we learn a few books in that Jules is a partial owner in a winery, Uva. When I started writing about Uva, I imagined a space just on the east side of Ashland in the sepia tone Golden Hills. I imagined a house and then a small boutique winery where people could just relax and lounge and drink some delicious wine in a really casual but elegant and beautiful atmosphere. This was all a vision in my head. And then in this crazy twist of fate, here's what happened. My dear friend Wendy read the book in which Jules learns about Uva and said, I know where Uva is. And I said, no, it's all in my head. I just made it up. It's not a real place. And she's like, no, I know where Uva is. Come with me. We'll have a glass of wine and I'll show you. And, I was sort of in disbelief about this idea, but I, of course, came along because I'm always up for a glass of wine outside in beautiful Ashland. And she brought me here to Eliana, and lo and behold, this is exactly what I imagined in my head. Eliana is Uva come to life. So it's that weird thing of what happened first. Did I create it in my mind? Was it already here? I don't know, but it's magical, and it's one of my favorite places in Ashland to visit. So if you're coming to Ashland, you must come and check out Uva or Eliana. Number 2, there are no pets in the Bakeshop Mysteries. Have you figured that out yet? Have you read all 9, soon to be 10 books? In not a single book is there a pet. There's not a dog, there's not a cat, there's not a goldfish, there's nothing. The only animals that you'll find in the Bakeshop Mysteries are wild animals, because in Ashland and the Rogue Valley there really is an abundance of wildlife. If you've followed me on social media, you'll know that I often share photos of my animal encounters, whether it's beautiful baby fawns in my front yard with their cute little spots, whether it's my husband and son petting hummingbirds on our back deck, or whether it is Mama Bear and her 2 cubs prowling around our neighborhood. The reason that there aren't pets in the series is because Jules is so busy. She's constantly running between Torte and all throughout the plaza, coming out to Uva, and is spending a lot of time either baking or trying to solve a crime. And I figured that giving her a pet would make her seem like a bad pet owner. So you have yet to find a fluffy little friend other than maybe like a wild cougar that she sees in Lithia Park in any of the series. Will that change in the future? I don't know, but as for now, no pets. Number 3, every book in the Bakeshop Mysteries has one drink recipe at the back. They all have multiple recipes for sweet and savory pastries and pastas and anything else that Torte might be baking up in whatever book you're reading. But each book in the series only has one drink recipe, and usually they are Andy's coffee specialties. There is an exception to that rule though, and that is in A Cup of Holiday Fear. There are 2, that's right, you're gonna get 2 drink recipes. One is an Andy holiday special, and another is for a very festive holiday cocktail, which I've never included, but I had to because, it's A Cup of Holiday Fear. We need at least 2 drinks. Number 4, I often hide Easter eggs in the Bakeshop Mysteries in the form of names of people who I know. You might not know this, but if you happen to know me, beware, because you're going to end up in a book for sure at some point in time, especially because I'm getting ready to work on book 12. Yes, book 12 of the series. And as the series has grown, I've run out of good names. So usually what I do is I borrow from people who I know and love. Do you remember Chef Garrison? He appeared, I think, the first time in Caught Red-Handed. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. My brother's name is Garrison, and I can guarantee you that he is not a chef. In fact, it was only a few years ago that he actually even learned how to cook. So if I'm using your name, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm using your likeness, but I'm just using your name as a way to like pay tribute to you on the page. The same is true for my nieces and nephews, for friends. So in A Cup of Holiday Fear, you might see an appearance by an Emma and a Maya, who happen to be my nieces. In Live and Let Pie, there was an appearance by two young girls, Hannah and Ellen, who happened to be my editor and her mother. So if you pay close attention, you might find you or someone you know in a book. And if you have a great name, send it to me. I'm always looking for interesting and unique character names. And here's some really fun news. I'm going to be giving away a character cameo where you, yes you, will get to choose the name of a character in a future Bakeshop mystery as part of the release of A Cup of Holiday Fear. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be lots of fun, and I can't wait to see what names someone comes up with for me. Last but not least, number 5. This is a spoiler. This is a big spoiler. So if you have not read Meet Your Baker, plug your ears, close your eyes, fast forward, whatever you need to do, because this is a major spoiler. But if you've read Meet Your Baker, you're fine. All right, in Meet Your Baker, this is the first and only time this has happened to me in writing the entire series. I was intending to make Sterling, yes, Sterling fans, I was intending to make Sterling the killer. I had the perfect motive for him. I had him all mapped out, and I finished the first draft of Meet Your Baker, and I went back and read it, and I realized I was totally in love with Sterling as a character, and he had to come back in a future book. And if he was the killer, he would have had to come back in jail, and that just doesn't work. I'm so glad I went back and rewrote Meet Your Baker, because Sterling has become one of the most interesting characters for me to write, and he continues to grow and change as the series grows, and there's much more in store for him, especially as I venture into book 12. So for all you Sterling fans, could he have been a killer? No, he's a tender soul. All right, those were 5 more things you might not know about the Bakeshop Mysteries. Did you know these? Do you have any great character names? What do you think about Sterling? Tell me below in the comments. And as always, thanks for joining me for another 5 Things Friday. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell to get notified whenever I share new videos.